See, people are slowly rolling in. Yes, I am. Yep. Been here about a month. It has been the best month ever. So I'm sure Annie is happy to hear that. But it's nice to meet you. You can see more people rolling in. Yeah, sure. Yeah, I was gonna. Yeah, I guess it is 3 p.m. Yep. So I'm going to introduce myself again once we start. But I'm Michael. I'm a solutions engineer here. So it's kind of a mix of sales meets sort of customer support engineering kind of efforts, which to me is really cool because you get some of the customer facing experience as well as just, again, time talking to customers in front of them. And then if people have inquiries or questions or need support, you can work on those projects as well. So it is very rewarding in a sense where I get to do kind of everything in a way, sort of have your hands on a bunch of stuff. So there's been no better teacher than Annie so far, who I'm sure you've all met, or most of you to a degree. But yeah, so far so good. Oh, nice. Well, that's great. Long time user, it seems. Yeah. How long have you been using the platform? As I wait for a response, this is a cool. I like Demio. It's cool. You can interact. Um, I imagine a few of you may or may not have used it in the past. I hadn't before this, but I was thinking though that because this is more of like an AI assistant webinar, I was trying to think of my favorite movies that involve AI. So if you have one, you can put it in the chat. Gotcha. I'm also just reading the chat too. Okay, cool. Sounds good, Eddie's. But yeah, I was thinking of my favorite movie that involved AI, and I was coming up short in terms of what I liked the most. Like the most classic answer was like Terminator, like to a degree. Um, but if anyone has one, feel free to share it while we're waiting for people. Seeing people slowly trickling, so I might give it till 3:05. Well, 3:05 Eastern. So 2 more minutes. Oh yeah. Hello. We'll get started in a minute or two if you're just joining. Trying to find. I think if I go here, you should be able to see it. So I get out of the never-ending window. Let's see. Okay. Yes, I will touch on that once we begin. in terms of your question. But also, yes, there's the answer from Annie's. All right, 10, 15 more seconds, then we'll move. Trying to make it 3:05. I know people bouncing between meetings or whatever they're doing. All right, cool. So we have arrived. So I will get over out of this tab into the more AI assistant one. So hello, everyone. Happy Thursday, and also happy almost May, by the way. I'm a big summer person, so we are inching closer and closer. My name is Michael, and I'm a recent new addition to the team at Grist here. So I'm actually on the team as a solutions engineer, and it's been a great first month or so, and just looking forward to grow here. As an addition, or rather additional note for the webinars, you can find a recording of our previous webinars, such as controlling spreadsheet chaos, as well as today's on YouTube and the main site as well. Additionally, if you signed up today, you'll receive an email immediately following this with a recording yourself. And so you can get it in a variety of places, which I think is really cool. And so for our webinar today, we're going to focus more so on the AI assistant. Hold on, there's a blip. Okay, cool. We are back. I think it was the internet. Anyway, we're back. So anyway, today's webinar is going to focus on one of the cooler tools of the platform, which is the AI assistant. Really what to expect, some best practices around it. I'm going to be using the rental management template to show some of this, which you can find access to directly as well on the site. I've made like a little bit of changes so we can show and illustrate some examples, but you should be able to find it on there. And I think for today, what I'd recommend is just sort of following along with the webinar. So if anything's unclear, you can ask questions. And then in terms of questions, I can answer them. I know Andy is also in the chat as well. And so we'll be able to answer really anything that you might have. So just a little bit about the assistant first, which we kind of touched on briefly in the chat. I'm sure if some of you have heard of ChatGPT. If you haven't, it's really just an AI-powered conversational agent designed to generate human-like responses, solve problems. You can ask it really much of anything, as I've tried. So from like sales methodology to help fixing code, it can help you. And so at Grist, we've taken some of that capability and made it available to users on our platform with the AI assistant, which is really going to help you write one of the harder parts of spreadsheets, which is formulas. And so mechanics-wise, just as a note, when you submit a question or inquiry to the assistant, basically what happens is Grist sends your question and schema to OpenAI so the assistant can kind of better understand your document and then return a result. And just as a note, no data is shared with OpenAI unless a user submits a question to the assistant. You can learn more about that as well I have a couple links which I can send right now before we begin. So just give me a moment. I think that one would be helpful. You can see that one. And then I can keep moving. Okay, cool. A couple additional notes as well. I think one thing cool, or rather I think would be important to touch on, is just kind of what you would get with each plan in terms of the AI assistant. So the free personal and free team plans have 100 AI credits. And for free teams, this is going to apply to the whole team, right? So it's 100 credits forever. Use them up, don't have any more credits. But if you want to go to the pro plan, there's 100 AI assistant credits per month per team. You can upgrade for more. And that is that. And so for best practices, I'm going to actually bounce over to the document that we're going to be looking at, which is the rental management document. And I think a thing that I like to see when people are starting to see best practices things in motion is to see them in text first. You can see them in text, and we'll be able to see them in motion as well. And so a couple of the main best practices that you're going to see in motion today in terms of our AI assistant. The first of which is going to be setting column headers. And so a reason that it's helpful to set column headers for the AI assistant is that you can, you're more so nudging it in the right direction. So for example, I already have column headers here, which would help us understand what might be in those cells. But if you're asking the assistant, hey, here's what I want in this column headers are helpful. And so, for example, if you put like net profit, that might be more helpful than something like a backslash or the letter D or really nothing. So that's the first best practice you'll see, and you'll see that in practice as well as to why that's important. Additionally, setting the column type in the creator panel. So you're going to actually head over to the creator panel, which I have open now. You sort of bounce down, you'll see the column type here. This again sort of pushes the AI assistant into the right direction. So if you put, for example, numeric or something that you'd want to do with perhaps counting money for leases, like we're seeing here in this table, it would help to have that already formatted, just so that it can know, okay, this might be what you want. The overall best practice 3 is just being conversational when you can. And when I say when possible, is I normally start conversational, but sometimes the AI can have a mind of its own, begin sort of iterating on certain ideas, or give you a very long answer, where in your head you're probably like, this should be a shorter formula. And you'll see that potentially in practice today, ways around it. So you can be conversational. That's how I always start. And then as it kind of works forward, perhaps at the beginning of the answer, or if it doesn't, then you can kind of get more specific. Number 4 is just thinking about the type of return or value you want. So for example, if you want something that returns true or false, you can ask it a yes or no question. And that to me makes sense, right? I want A or B, so I might ask like an A or B type question. Otherwise, the assistant might not know. It might be able to fill in some gaps for you, but as I've used other AI tools as well, when it has to fill in gaps, it can sometimes fill in the wrong gaps. So just thinking about the type of return value you want helps you execute the ultimate formula that will help you the most. And then number 5 is just clearing the conversation when needed. Sometimes the assistant gets stuck in a bad idea, and we just need to clear it. This is something, because I love movies, I kind of like to call it the Men in Black thing. When they sort of flash the light and then you can't remember what happened. That's kind of what's happening to the AI when you clear it. I can show you how to do that. And so those are the 5 best practices you're going to see in motion. And so let me just make sure there's nothing crazy in the chat. Okay. I can answer a couple of questions soon. All right. So let's go over some examples. Let's actually see this in motion. We've gone over some best practices, housekeeping stuff. So we're going to migrate over into the people tab. And so again, this is a rental management template. So people like landlords or just property owners, this would be helpful for them. You can see who's living in the units, whether there's profit loss, who's currently signed on, what apartments are there, income and expenses, right? There's a lot of expenses going in my buildings. I want to log it somewhere here. We've chosen a few examples here in the people page. And so you're going to see like name, apartment, date of birth, right? So you have Helen lives in 1A, James Clark lives in 2C, and then Owen Sharp lives in 1B. So that's going to tell you what overall units they're in, and then also when they've been born, which is DOB, also known as date of birth. And so in these 3 columns, we're going to try to figure out A, what their age is based on their date of birth, and then B, whether or not they're a senior or not, and C, whether or not they're a minor. And so in order to access the AI assistant, I would select the column and then go to the cell up here. This is fine. I can click the equal sign, and then you can enter the formula if you know it. But most of us, perhaps like myself included, sometimes you don't know the exact syntax that you want. So you can open the AI assistant here. Then it will open a page, or rather, like more so like a text box / chat box. You'll see a place to enter the formula. Again, if you knew it, if you ahead of time. Additionally, when you open it, you'll see a couple things that it talks about. And these are actually good reminders for me too. When it comes to the assistant, where it really only helps you with formulas. You can't build your tables, views, write access rules. If you ask it to format as well, that's something that you should avoid. You can do a lot of your formatting. What I mean by that is if you open the creator panel, you can kind of see, okay, I want to format by number, right? Or rather by $. Do all of that in the creator panel and leave the AI assistant to figuring out the formulas for you. And then, like I said before, talk to me like a person. It also tells you more about OpenAI, and then just some other cheat sheets in here to help you out. So if we wanted to figure out the age, let's try something. Let's try something like, can you tell me the age of this person? So this is very conversational. Let's see if it gets it. Sometimes it does. Sometimes it'll ask me more questions, which I wouldn't love. Okay, so it comes up as, could you please provide me with necessary information about the person? So didn't quite get it there, which again is totally fine. I can do something like, based on DOB, return me formula for how old the person is. Okay, let's see. I think I like it. So what you would do here is click apply. Okay, perhaps not. Okay, name error, gotcha. Okay, cool. You can go down to the bottom here. We can refine the query a little bit. Sometimes it gets them, sometimes it can have a mind of its own. Let's do return me formula for the age of this person. Be the same one. All right, we're going to try to clear this. See, we're already using a bunch of our best practices here, working through it. So we'll go here. We're going to clear it. Get this out of here as well. And we'll try again here. So let's do this. I had one written up the other day. Based on the DOB, return me a formula that tells me the age of each person. Aha, okay. So it finally got it. So I'm curious what it was getting caught up on, but at least we know now it works. So I think it's an overall just lesson that you might have to ask it a few things just to get it moving. And so again, the overall mechanics there is you would look at it, say, okay, I think I like it. You would click apply. It'll give you a preview in here. And then if you like it, click save. And then as we go through a couple of these, you can spot check them, right? So this person born in 2005, 18 makes sense. 18 makes sense here. 25 makes sense here. We're happy with it. So that's the first example. Now, as I go to the column on the right, again, clicking equals, doing use AI assistant. I'm going to ask, this is also somewhere where potentially the AI can show off that it can work with more contextual things. So for a senior, we want someone who's 65 or under, but there are other types of seniors in the world technically. For example, you could have like a high school senior or a college senior. We're hoping that it doesn't go in that direction. It should not. So I'm going to ask, is this person a senior? Perfect. So you can click apply here. I like what it's doing. Clicking apply, clicking save. So now we can see that everyone in here who is a senior is marked as a senior. And we did some of this formatting as well in here. So I made it a toggle, a checkbox. It's coming up where that if each person is a senior, you're going to see a check. And conversely, this person's 18. They are not a senior, so you're not going to see it. And so let's try this one more time as well to see if it can get that they're a minor. So we're going to do equals, use AI assistant, going down to the chat and saying, is this person a minor? Okay, I'm liking what I'm seeing. Nice and simple, similar or the same to the other syntax. We're going to click apply, save. And as you can see, there's really only one minor in the building. And this is actually a little Easter egg as well. If you are a Harry Potter fan, we put Cedric Diggory as the person who's a minor. That is who Robert Pattinson played in Harry Potter. I absolutely love that. And you can see that the AI assistant helped us out. It works. Only one person is labeled that, right? If you're 18, you're an adult. 17, you are a minor. I'll run through a couple more examples, then we can sort of stop for questions. I'll check briefly, see what's going on. Okay, good. Nothing crazy. So we figured out age, seniors, and minors. Next, we're going to go into lease information. And so in here, you can see different, or in this table, you can see apartments. You can see when leases start and end. And what we want to figure out in here is if I'm a landlord or property owner, I want to know when current leases are ending, or probably better, if they've already ended, which ones are still active. So we're going to figure that out. And additionally, we're going to look at some other more math-related things like the amount increase based on the original lease amount and the percent increase, and then just the total monthly rent. What's it going to cost to live there? How much am I looking to charge each tenant? So for the current status, this will be a little more involved, I think, than the previous example. A couple screens going on here. And then something also to note here in this, and I keep reiterating more about the column formatting, is we were already in here. We made the column a choice, and then we inputted our choices active or ended. So whether it's an active lease or whether the lease has ended. This is important because when we ask it, we can denote to give us acted or ended, and then it should be able to give us a formula that can do that, and we can try it out now. So we'll go to equals. Use AI assistant, go in here and say something, maybe a little general, but I like to see it as general as possible. Tell me if this lease has ended based on the end date. We're basing off the end date column. Okay, lease is not, I think I like it. Click apply, click save. Okay, it's giving me ended for all. So we like it, but we don't love it. So we're going to go back in here, make a few changes here. That'll happen sometimes. So let me adjust this a little bit and just say, so the actual end date, if the lease is active, show active. And if it has ended, show ended. Okay, we can see about that. This is what I meant earlier when you just kind of, if you are general, it might give you something close, but if you can be a little more specific, sometimes that can really help get it over the finish line. So I'll click again, apply, save. And as we can see here, it works. So any cell that doesn't have an end date means it's still active. And you can see no end date, still active, no end date, still active, and so forth. So it looks like we have about 6 remaining leases that are currently active. So that's great. Now, if we moved on to the right here, this is more math related than it is context. So it's good to see both of these things. We want to know the amount increase based on the original lease amount and percent increase. So again, right in here, there's no formulas in here. Clicking equals, use AI assistant. I will say something very general first or conversational. Tell me the amount increase. This is very general, so we can see. Let's see how good it can get. Yeah, okay. We tried here, but it's not going to give it to me. So this is just this is another example of just sometimes you are too general. And even then, if someone asked you that in like real life, you might ask a couple more qualifying questions. So we can say a formula that shows me the amount increase based on the original lease amount and percent increase. Okay, cool. This is close, and so I'll actually press apply just to see it. But if we pressed apply here, nope, it's not even giving to me at the bottom. Okay, that's fine. Anyway, we saved that. Okay, name error again. It's not liking it. Let's see what we did wrong. So I want this again. I'm actually going to do this. Might be being a little buggy with me. Maybe I'm missing a button. I'm going to copy this. Just going to clear the conversation and then ask it again. All right. Now it has the apply button down there. Perhaps I missed it last time. You'll click apply and it's close, but you'll see that the amount increase, I cannot imagine someone would increase rent by 72 cents. And so I see, okay, well, we don't want to divide by 100 here. So close here. And then we can just edit it ourselves, press save. All of a sudden, things are making more sense. 4% increase, $133. I'm feeling good about that. Also, ones that are zero, you're seeing zero. You can do some math if you'd like. But I'm feeling much better with these numbers than 72 cents or 52 cents. And so that gives me the amount increase. Feeling good about that. But now I want to know the total rent. So let's, again, we'll start as general as we can. What is the total rent? I'm trying to phrase these differently as we go. Okay, yeah, lease term. This is going to be too. I'll do it anyway. Yeah, it's not giving me exactly what I want. So we're going to get rid of it. We're going to say, what is the total rent amount based on amount increase and original lease amount? Yeah, let's try to do it again. It's bringing in the lease term. All right, well, we're close, but I'm going to clear it. Again, no problem. Okay, much better. So you press apply, you'll see some changes there. Click save, right? Because you're adding just original lease amount plus the amount increase will give me what is the rent now. And we can do a couple of checks here, right? So $1,250, $50, $1,300, $48, $1,268, $80. We're feeling good about this. And so those are our three examples there. So we've gone through, again, just to recap, people, you've seen how to get age as well as, can we find if they're a senior or minor or not, and then gone through some leasing information, whether or not something is active or ended, always very helpful when managing properties, and then amount increase and total monthly rent are more so just more basic math, but it's important to understand that this can get those as well and can have sort of varying use cases and difficulty when it comes to producing the formulas. And so those are the mechanics. Again, some best practices like we went over, setting column headers, right? Reiterated on that. Column types as well. Trying to be conversational when we can. Thinking about what we want to return. There were some times where perhaps I was too general or wasn't specific enough. That's always important. And then, as we saw multiple times, just clearing the conversation when needed. Sometimes the AI is super on it. Other times it tries to give you longer answers, and you can kind of tell that maybe it's not what I want. So with that, I'll stop going through the document, look at some questions. Let's see if we have any in here. I'd like to get this never-ending thing out of the way and just share the rental management copy here, but maybe it's here. Stop sharing for a moment. Just share this. That's probably better. Okay, seeing some questions. Seems like Anna East and our user are going back and forth. Some other things that I wanted to send before as well that I think would be helpful for people here is the as well as the product page for the AI assistant, which you saw briefly before. Click save. I think you should be able to see that. And if you can't, or there's some kind of lag here, all these links will be under the webinar as well. When we post it on YouTube, and any of our other various channels, but YouTube is our main source beyond the website. So I'll pause it here just for some questions. I know that as people are going through it, they might be following along, but I'll give it a few minutes. Seeing what was asked. Okay, that's a good question about documentation. Let's see, anything else? We'll go back through this again. See some of the formulas that it made for us. It's for the age. Perhaps more straightforward with these ones when you're looking at them, right? The age is just greater than or equal to 65. Same thing for 18. We'll bounce into here as well. We'll scroll over to the left. Again, perhaps I went too fast during these and you want to take a second look at them. Always good. Some multiplication here. In addition here. So what it helped us with for those, I'll head back into the chat. Okay. Be nice to have a feature I could provide default instructions to the assistant. Okay, so more so like baking in preferences so that when you're using it later, it might draw from those. That's how I'm internalizing that. Yeah, it's a good suggestion. I know sometimes when you go through it, you might have to use a couple of the of like the clear conversations, which might use up a couple credits, right? can understand that. Give people some more time. And now when working through documents that you might. Scale 1 instead of 100. Yeah, that's a good, I'll go back to it. We're in here. Yep. We're in here, right? Yeah, this is something that was happening consistently when I was inputting. That can also come down to wording as well. So if I went into here, what did we say? Turn me a formula that shows me the amount increased based on the original lease and percent increase. I think it's pretty clear. I'm sure I could iterate ways where eventually it would get rid of the 100, but that is something to note, a good note. Well, I'll get rid of it. Go back in here. Here you go. Right. So sometimes the LLM is not going to specifically look at the values, which might be why we were encountering that error there. Yep. That's also a good point by Anise, who's our resident Grist expert and ninja. And just to reiterate as well, if you're looking to see more about how your data is used, you can find that in the document that I shared or on documentation site where you can find the AI assistant, which would be support.getgrist.com/AI assistant. Just making sure I didn't miss anything here. Nope, Anais has been on top of it. I'll keep it open for now, since there's questions humming. And we have like 8 or 9 other attendees. Just let us know if you have any other questions. Happy to help. Okay. All right. Well, I see that there's been some great questions in here, and thanks for those. I don't see any more coming in, and so looks like we'll wrap there for now. But yeah, this has been great going over it. Some best practices, seeing it in action. As you can see, it's not perfect, but I know for me personally, it has helped a lot. And so I can stop sharing, I believe. And then you can just let us know if you have any questions. through our support email, or you can email one of us individually. We get back to people fast and frequently. So thank you all for coming. Let us know if you have more questions, and happy Thursday and usage of the AI system. Hope it helped out.